listening to the wonderful words of wisdom, beautiful poetry, Brian or John Clark, picture that we've just had in front of us here. I reflect on what was said today. We had Peter start with some beautiful analogies. Talk about species excelling in times of difficulty. One could reflect upon the smallpox that we brought to the Aborigines. We could talk about species excelling during those times. He also mentioned the analogy of a flashlight that comes to us in these times of despair. Jerry Harvey, relevant, quite prominent Australian, loves, I suspect, this analogy. Last Christmas, we made a moxa out of the stimulus package as a consequence of the global financial crisis. Heard him on the radio yesterday. Looking forward to Christmas this year. Interest rates down, dollar up. We're going to buy some more flat screen television. We talk about sustainability and flashlights. A wonderful analogy he's left us. Wrong one. Colleague of past talked about an obese nation. Rather timing, it's right to work day. Who rode to work today? Oh, 2. Roughly, I'll do my maths, about 3%.
The rest is not PT yet, so be careful.
I had a little ride to work, just as an analogy. I saw 3 cyclists today. There are more bikes sold than cars. They must be collecting a lot of dust under this global financial crisis. Bronwyn's silvertail population that lives in the eastern suburbs. They're lovely, aren't they? Not unlike the Mossman crowd too. And the Ku-ring-gai crowd, no doubt. That being said, environment seems to be wonderfully important to them. Wonderfully important. In fact, more important now than it was some time ago. The Lowry Institute, the very, very survey that Maureen was just talking about, climate change, in that international survey on climate change, as it was released yesterday, the snippet that I heard, still not on their website, climate change went from 1 to 4. So the mixed messages that we get out of these surveys don't reflect the affluent and the normal population and how they're dealing with this crisis. So we're getting a lot of mixed messages here. Captain Sustainability. I don't know where to start with this. And I don't want to continue with a negative view here. But in many ways, the fantasy around this particular character here, the absolute fantasy, epitomises the strength or lack thereof of the debate. They talked about local councils doing these wonderful demonstration projects and trials. Can I just emphasise those 2 words? Demonstrations and trials. We are not talking about the mainstreaming of sustainability here. We're talking about tinkering feel-good exercise, partnering up with the fringe councils of New South Wales, patronising them no less, to generate power for us. It's a rather rude, I dare say, position that we, the affluent, or they, the affluent councils, have in considering the picture of sustainability and the impact that the global financial crisis has had. So in terms of where we go to with this argument, Tom spoke very much around what is the core of local government and its financial sustainability. He spoke very clearly and gave you the numbers to say we spend more on fixing up small problems than was otherwise created from this global financial crisis. There seems a mismatch in this argument. And in many ways, the very projects that the government, the Commonwealth government, has sought to promote as a way and a vehicle through which to navigate our way towards a more sustainable future really gave us some nice sports figures. There are notable exceptions, absolutely, and we don't want to generalise, but I will indulge me for a moment. Essentially, we have a government structure that has not considered the environment, that has been flippant in many ways as to its future direction. We also had some words from Jenny in terms of getting back to the reality of local government. What is local government's core programs? Now, we touch on the functions of local government, and it's not to provide alternative generation, energy generally, that's not the mainstream of local government. So in many ways, we have this position where the global financial crisis has focused our minds, essentially, on what local government needs to be doing. It needs to be delivering the services for its community that need those services today, whilst maintaining the services into the future. Not the fantasy, if you like, fantasy trolley over here, stacked full of these trials and demonstrations that we so often like to talk about and publicise in our annual reports. Stacked full of the Mossman. And, look, it's the Mossman, it's the Randwick, it's the Waverley. What is this Eastern Suburbs cartel here? The reality of the most of the 150-odd councils in New South Wales, the reality over here, is that we have to deliver real projects, core projects, for our community, with the absolute focus that they are financially sustainable, that they withstand this financial scrutiny, not are supported by miscellaneous and misguided subsidies